So, ladies and gentlemen, I think I'm the last Popović that will be speaking to you this evening. Even though the audience is overwhelmingly speaking Serbian, because of our foreign guests, please understand that I will speak English. And I will try to explain what we are doing at the University of Belgrade regarding the improvement of the innovation ecosystem available to our researchers. As has been mentioned many times this evening already, the University of Belgrade has been recognized for its academic excellence. And I will not mention the Shanghai listings. I would prefer to talk about the Leiden rankings, which are focusing exclusively on research excellence. The University of Belgrade is doing very well on this list, and I mention it because this was the key factor based on which the League of European Research Universities selected 7 Central and Eastern European universities for a strategic partnership. The University of Belgrade is one of these universities that will have closer cooperation with LERU in the future, providing much better conditions, I think, for the exchange of researchers and for possible joint applications for projects. Please take advantage of this opportunity. Look up which 23 universities are in LERU and whether you can utilize this connection to perhaps forge some partnerships. We are readily available to help you in this respect. If we talk about roughly the last 20 years and what's going on at the University of Belgrade, so this research excellence was created at 31 faculties and 11 institutes. If we speak about the 21st century, we know that the capability for practical research has really gone down. And there is not much incentive for it because the target partners are not always fully clear. These are either SMEs that want instant solutions or large international companies that have dislocated research and have no need for the local knowledge that is available. This is a rather tough situation for trying to motivate people to get involved in innovation. So when in previous times our ministry stressed the need to publish papers, the research community responded. Now in the second phase, when we are motivated to move on to innovation, somehow the response is very sluggish. But so far we have managed to do the following. We have about 7 innovation centers that are fully available to help researchers move forward to the next step of innovation. I would also like to mention our newest arrival in this part of the arena. This is the Regional Serbian Digital Manufacturing Innovation Hub, which is going to be oriented toward robotics and is actually part of a Horizon 2020 project in which the key participants for this hub are the Faculty of Electrical Engineering, the Mihailo Pupin Institute, and one Serbian company. So I'm looking forward to the contribution of this innovation hub, and I hope it will be the first of many. Then, since 2011, the University of Belgrade has a Center for Technology Transfer, which is trying to increase awareness about the possibilities of going into innovation and commercialization. I will speak about this a little bit more. For almost 15 years, there is a business technology incubator, which at the moment, this is a number of 25 startups, is from December 2016. Now there are 29 startups, of which I think 2 companies have a turnover of more than 1 million euros. I think this is a very good result. Mrs. Danilović is not available today. That's why I think it's very important for me to stress this fact. And finally, the University of Belgrade, together with the City of Belgrade and the Ministry of Education, Science and Technology Transfer, is one of the co-founders of the Science Technology Park in Belgrade, which now, again, these are data from December 2016, actually has 50 companies with about 400 employees that are engineers, plus additional other staff. And we see this as a very important driving force that will help us. one of the perils in this scheme is actually not visible. It seems that it's a very smooth transition, but it isn't, because I see the greatest danger for innovation in Serbia is the pre-incubation valley of death. It's not visible. It's a question of providing up to 10,000 euros to innovators to try to work on the intellectual property, whether it will be regional or European or at a higher level, because obviously national IPO is not sufficient. And in this respect, we see very many dangers. If we talk about the Center for Technology Transfer and its role, it's been I would say, a rocky ride, but still uphill. It started off as a project, and it was supported by Oxford University. Many researchers from abroad helped the formation of the center, but it also brought practices that were related to the infrastructure and organization of these universities, meaning they were organized systems and they were integrated universities. This is rather difficult to implement with a university that is anything but integrated. On the other hand, what is the role of the researchers? The researchers in this first stage of the pilot project were, some of them singled out for awareness raising, and 2 institutes were more heavily involved in developing their intellectual property to actual innovations. The awareness raising was semi-successful because what we realized that most innovators working in small teams also believed that they were good businessmen. And this caused the first 5 startups made by the University of Belgrade. There were other reasons, but the main reasons were that these innovators did not really allow business managers to give the main directions of the development of the firm. So this is something that we have to learn. Although there are many university professors at the University of Belgrade who are connected to small private companies that are often owned by their wives, sisters, or other relatives, this is not what we mean by startups. And I think this can be found also in other university centers. What we mean by real startups is that intellectual property created at the university is really taken to the next level. So here we come to the TRLs, and this is also where we see great weakness in Serbian research and research at the University of Belgrade, that many researchers are not capable of defining at what level their research results are, whether they need to, they're still working on the basics of their concept, or whether they're ready to take off. And so it would be really quite good if we could group our innovations into the 3 tiers of the TRLs, making the innovation process and the commercialization a little bit more specific. So even though we did a lot of awareness raising programs with the JRC, WIPO, the Intellectual Property Office of Serbia, and with other partners, we still feel that the impact of the Center for Technology Transfer is not good enough. And one of the things is that we still haven't had our golden egg. We haven't had our great success, that success story that everyone knows about. And I really don't know when we'll have it, but if we don't have enough innovations and people willing to go further, we'll never find out. So I'm really hoping that you will be open to communicate better with the center. We are well connected with various European bodies and offices, and can provide any type of information that is required. And also we can provide training for young researchers that are interested in learning more about intellectual property and similar topics, because this is the starting point of innovation. If you don't know how to protect your innovation, then there's no point going any further. Also, we have had some support for educating young people, mostly in the area of ICT, also at the level of high school students. And we are readily open to help researchers with their ideas. As you know, there is a rule book of the University of Belgrade that has been criticized by some, praised by others, where we're trying to keep the focus of the university and showing that the university can really support faculties and institutes and the researchers within these communities to make a better result with their innovation. And finally, when we talk about what is known and about the visibility of the scientific community in Belgrade, as Professor Popović mentioned in her first lecture, I'm not sure that you're aware of the Science to Business database that exists about research from the University of Belgrade. And as opposed to the registry of researchers that is made by the ministry, this database was made several years ago. Its only drawback that it's a voluntary database, meaning that if you want to be visible, you have to put in the data yourself. And there we see how actually comfortable our researchers are and unwilling actually to promote themselves. This database is both in Serbian and English, and it's linked to very many common databases like the one in CERN, and it does make our researchers visible. We have had global inquiries about our scientists in the past 2 years regarding, based on this database. I would also like to mention that we provide support for people who have Tempus Erasmus or Horizon 2020 projects regarding intellectual property and innovation rights. And one other very important aspect, and that is funding. Even though we fully admire and respect the Innovation Fund of Serbia for providing funds for our innovators, we are fully aware that this is not enough money. Simply, there's not enough money available, and what we have done, we have actually signed an agreement with the TUS Science Park in Beijing, which has a huge innovation fund and which is willing actually to fund our innovators if they find the proposal attractive. We have also signed a contract with a large German investment fund that will also be interested in our innovations, not only in the area of ICT, but much broader. So if we look at this map, you can see that the Center for Technology Transfer can find partners for you almost all over the globe in relevant industrially developed countries. Also, we are looking into other financing options such as crowdfunding, and we are also trying to help young people through various startup competitions. Why do I mention crowdfunding? Even though in Serbia it's a very new concept with maybe debatable possibilities, it has shown to be now in the past year the largest single type of funding that is helping startups globally. So therefore we have to look into this possibility that crowdfunding is also an option for Serbian startups companies, especially in the area of ICT, which is especially interesting for you. So I hope that I can encourage you to contact us, either Mr. Milosavljević, who is the head of our Center for Technology Transfer, or me personally. We would be more than happy to help you on the way to make your innovation a commercial success. Thank you very much.